minute that I felt attracted to the same sex, which was my sex, was when I knew that something was different. And it wasn't even a romantic thing for me. It was more, I felt female, really. And I felt like there would be days where I would wake up and I would feel like I wasn't supposed to be a boy. I felt like I was lied to. I felt like I was tricked essentially. I felt
The documentary style approach created a sense of intimacy for our central subject, and explaining their backdrop of their queer identity and the difficulties that come from sort of not just the external pressures, but the internal pressures of trying to find out who you are. I thought that those ideas ended up being quite universal, and the central subject worked well in creating sort of an overall sense of humanity as they tried to highlight the difficulties I think all people feel in establishing your sense of self and trying to accomplish goals for yourself that aren't just romantic or sexual, but have a sense of self-awareness and self-assuredness that is difficult to capture, especially if you feel your sense of identity is not being reflected back at you.
I loved hearing about his band, Queen of the Beef, which such a great name. And you don't see many bands like that. It's usually either like hyper masculine or queer, but this combined both. And I loved that they did that, and both expressing their gender identity in their own way, loudly and proudly, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, it just looked like such a fun band, and Michi just looked like he was having the time of his life. And I loved hearing about his time as a drag queen and how he explored his identity with that and why he no longer does that. But yeah, it just sounds like he's on the right path, just to self-discovery and keeping his mind open and free, and constantly trying new things to try sort of discover himself along the way, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, I loved his account of his life and just how open he was with us as the audience. Um, but yeah, it was very interesting to hear about, and also hear about his upbringing and how he always sort of felt this way about himself, and until he was older, he didn't truly explore it and discover it to its fullest extent. And now he has that freedom, which I thought was so cool.
Like a love letter to themselves. And I thought it was really beautiful. It felt very raw, very authentic, and just kind of, I felt like I was invited into their space. And I think I really liked how I was able to see her perspective on just kind of like, from the beginning, knowing that she had this internal struggle of not feeling like she's in her correct body or not being able to present herself in the way that she wanted to with her own femininity, but also seeing that sometimes it's a process. It's not even kind of based on what other people think, which, like, of course it did affect her a lot, but it's also very much like she had to figure out how to get to the point in which she was comfortable with herself and how she wanted to present herself. So I think being able to see, like, going from the punk band to like exploring drag and everything, I think it was very beautiful, because you can't always um know exactly who you are right off the bat. She had an idea, but it still took a little bit to kind of formulate into the person that she is now. So I think that was really beautiful. I also really liked the end where she was kind of saying, like, she doesn't want labels, she doesn't need words to define her femininity, because she's found a version of her femininity that she enjoys, and that's the only thing that really matters. So I think it was all really beautiful. I really resonated with her, and I think a lot of people have this struggle in which they don't know how to present themselves. They don't know how to find themselves until it is found. So I think it's very beautiful.
You can see like how they interact with like the people surrounding their life, and at the same time how can they like push themselves to be the person that they want to be, that they are like in the meantime. So it's really encouraging, it's really like endorsing, like to like whoever want to stand up for themselves, want to do something that they love, why not being like brought down by your own fear or your own anxiety. So this is so good. It's a short one, but it's really good to kind of like leave you up like within like the climate of hatred and like all of kind of phobias against LGBTQ plus like communities.
I love how the short piece allows us as the audience to kind of dive quickly into the life of Boy Michi that creates this nice balance between life and the camera. I also love how it tackles the hard struggles that queer folks experience in their day-to-day lives with not being accepted, but then also finding it kind of hard, even much harder to actually accept themselves because of the hate that they face. This documentary was really engaging so well.
Love the camera work in this one. So many stunning close ups of the gorgeous blue eyes and beautiful makeup. Lots of fabulous editing, too. I love the intimate interviews. I appreciated hearing about long ago with old childhood photos. The gentle soundtrack near the end finished off the film with a positive, upbeat feeling of living life true to oneself.